Hello, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. Before I get started, I'd like to welcome all the new subscribers. Your interest really helps out, and Ensign Bradbury has agreed that for every 100 subscribers, he'll let you all hear one of his kitten's logs. In Resolutions, Captain Janeway and Commander Chakotay become infected with a virus which strands them on the planet of origin. Commander Chakotay works to try and make the stay as pleasant for Captain Janeway as possible, with the understanding that they will have to spend the rest of their lives on the planet. Captain Janeway works to learn whatever she can about the planet, in hopes that she may find a cure. Throughout their stay, Commander Chakotay helps Captain Janeway relax and finally settle in on the planet. Unknown to the two, the crew of Voyager, under the command of Tuvok, have risked their lives to find a cure from the Vidian. After finally settling in on the planet, Captain Janeway and Commander Chakotay are beamed back to Voyager for their cure and a return to their mission back to the Alpha Beta Quadrant. The episode begins with Captain Janeway and Commander Chakotay waking up from cryogenic sleep. The doctor informs them that there is no cure to the virus that will kill the two if they leave. The doctor explains the how and why. He points out that the Vidian may have a solution, but concludes it's too much of a risk. Captain Janeway relinquishes command to Tuvok with the direct order to not contact the Vidian. Tuvok agrees, and Captain Janeway prepares to say goodbye to the crew before they leave. A lot of episodes have an A and B plot, but in this case, they're essentially two different stories that are related. So, in summary, the officers left on Voyager are not willing to accept the fact that they cannot get the cure for the virus. The story outside of Chakotay and Janeway consists of the crew trying to convince Tuvok to contact the Vidian. Tuvok refuses to do so. Then, Cass convinces him, getting into a shooting fight with the Vidian, as he warned. The doctor contacts his ex-girlfriend, he has one, by the way, and she gives him the cure to the virus Chakotay and Janeway have, and then Voyager rescues them. With that explained, I'll continue with a review of the story of Captain Janeway and Chakotay on the planet. Provisions are beamed down to the planet, and Captain Janeway's first priority is to ensure everything she may need for her research is available. She intends on continuing her research into a cure for their infection. Chakotay's priorities are making the planet livable. He jokes about putting the prefab cabin together, and Captain Janeway plays on that banter. Her idea of roughing it is rather amusing for anybody who has ever camped. I've never much cared for camping outside in a tent, but even I think having a replicator for food is a bit of a way from the idea of roughing it. And then Captain Janeway has her first real give on the situation. She tells Chakotay to call her Catherine, something he may need some time to adjust to. Captain Catherine wastes no time in setting up bug traps. Her main theory is that if she can trap the insect that infected them, then she can learn more about the virus and maybe replicate whatever is keeping them alive on the planet so they can go home. Once settled, we find Chakotay has been in the woods on a super secret project, leaving Catherine with her bug traps. In the midst of their joking, Tuvok sends a message down to inform the two that the ship will be out of range shortly. He had previously told the two that Voyager would be out of range in a little over 30 hours. They've reached that point. Captain Janeway makes a final message to the crew to say goodbye. With a final send-off from Tuvok, Catherine and Chakotay are on their own. The next scene is Catherine in the super-secret bathtub Chakotay made for her. By the wording of her personal log, it seems likely they've already been on the planet for a while. Catherine is still trying to find that bug. She decided to look at the evolution of the ecosystem instead. So over those keeping track, the science is happening the whole time. I mean, this is a scientist stranded on a planet with a puzzle to solve. Chakotay is in the cabin making sand art. I'm pretty sure this was from before the writers realized their expert on Native American traditions was a fraud. What he's doing doesn't look anything like any sand art I've ever seen, and I doubt it's done inside on a metal platter anyway. If you know better, let me know in the comments. But the friendly conversation is interrupted by some noise in the woods. Catherine does that thing where she covers her boobs with the nearest cloth, lest they lose their primetime rating, and calls for help. Chakotay to the rescue. They find a small primate in the woods, and Catherine tries to befriend it as a way to learn about primate physiology. And then Chakotay seems to notice Catherine only has a towel on. Now the professional decorum is really dropped. Chakotay returns to the cabin to handle his sand and leave her to her privacy. Now clothed, Catherine comes back to log her information and talk about finding primates. Chakotay tries to convince her to set the studies aside and find joy in the moments they have. Catherine isn't ready to make that choice. She hasn't given up on being able to return home. However, Catherine has admitted that the time may come when she does. What appears to be weeks later, Chakotay continues to try and make the cabin more comfortable for Catherine by adding a headboard to her bed to make it easier for her to read in bed at night. Catherine shows her gratitude for his contribution and admits she hates to cook, an issue that manifests on Voyager with her being unable to make even the simplest of replicated dishes. The only problem is, Catherine doesn't really like the touches of home Chakotay has made, and she resists the possibility of giving up on leaving. Chakotay's argument is to basically live in the now. As long as they're there, he'd like it to be nice. Catherine admits again she may have to give up sometime, but this isn't that time. She goes to check the traps and finds a possible insect. She also finds her primate friend. The primate is standing on a rock, and I'm pretty sure he's trying to say, "Get inside, there's a storm coming." Catherine makes it inside, but not with the insects she had spent weeks, maybe even months trying to find. When the storm is over, their home is in shambles. The traps are destroyed, and Catherine is left hopeless. She's forced to let go. Catherine and Chakotay clean up the debris, and Chakotay contemplates adding rooms to the cabin. This is when we learn that Catherine is in fact familiar with actual camping, to keep in touch with her pioneer roots. Of course she hated it. It's also the first time she has something nice to say about the planet. She greets the primate and tries to befriend him. There's a small moment after greeting the primate when Chakotay calls Catherine Captain, and her smile falls. It's one of those nothing moments, but I think it shows the struggle she's having. I've said before, Captain Janeway doesn't do well when all the pressure is taken off of her. There's the work of restoring their home to keep her busy, but walking away from finding a cure is harder than she lets on. That evening, Catherine is sore from her labor, and Chakotay tries to massage out the muscle strain. It's the only time it seems there's more to their friendship than just camaraderie. Ever the gentleman, Chakotay returns to his stone carving project. When Catherine returns, she's all business. She states how they need to find parameters for them, clearly finding comfort in a formal position. And then Chakotay tells a story he's clearly made up to try and say he's fine helping her because she's given him some purpose. I have to hear it. You don't. Catherine understands it's not an ancient legend, and they do have what is frankly a sweet scene where they join hands. They may not have found parameters, but they have come to an understanding. The next scene on the planet is Catherine in the mud, examining plants in a small garden. Chakotay is checking on her, and it appears she's found some peace in the planet. She really looks to be having fun. Chakotay's planned a boat for them to travel and explore the river for a sort of vacation. And then the communicator badge she stopped wearing a while back sends out a message from Tuvok. A cure has been found, and they're now able to return to Voyager. The next scene shows Captain Janeway dressed and ready to beam back up. Her tomato plants are larger, and she says goodbye to her primate friend. Captain Janeway and Commander Chakotay take one last look at one another and return to Voyager. Captain Janeway returns to her crew. She needles Tuvok a little as a way to say thank you, and she tells Voyager to continue on their way home. Back on Voyager, both are back to a professional relationship. One would never think they had spent months on a planet developing a personal relationship. Throughout the Voyager series, there were those who tried to push for a relationship between Commander Chakotay and Captain Janeway. Mind you, this was before the internet was the social hub it is now, and the term shipping didn't exist. Nevertheless, there's always been the idea that two people of different genders have to find their way together. I think this was the attempt to show what that could look like. No, it doesn't exactly go there, but they're the only two people on the planet. It seems like they would eventually have to. Perhaps they did, perhaps they didn't. In truth, it doesn't matter. Once they return to Voyager, the mission to return home is the priority. But more than anything, this is a break. All the prior episodes have had something to do with trying to find a way to cope with the struggle to find a way home. This was something else. This was the unthinkable, accepting that there was no way home, at least for her and Chakotay. We see what that would look like, and what she would do. Apparently grow a garden and explore. It makes some sense. They are roots of her nature, caring for others and understanding what she doesn't yet understand. When she has the chance to return to Voyager, it's not joy we see, it's resolve. Is this because of the intended romantic plot, or because she knows the mantle she'll have to retake? In each of these episodes, I try to discuss how Captain Janeway's mental health impacts her behavior, or how her behavior impacts her mental health. This is one of the few times we see something deeply poignant. Everyone needs a break. Everyone needs a chance to breathe. Everyone needs someone to lean on. She doesn't get that. Chakotay's resolve and Tuvok's friendship are the closest she gets to that. This is the first real breath she's had. It ends how it has to, with her returning and getting back to work. Captain Janeway can only do one thing. She can only work to make their way home. Her mental health always takes second place to that. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any thoughts, feelings, or ideas, please share in the comments below. If you notice any spelling or reading mistakes in this video, please comment within the first week of posting for the chance to choose a future topic. Again, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. Ensign Bradbury has been an especially disobedient officer these last few weeks. He has been invading Captain Mommy's yarn and unraveling it. He's been put on report, but nevertheless, still ready and willing to do his duty for the Federation. Yes. I understand that you want to get into stuff, Ray, but this is going to be a long video. All right? You need to be patient. It's 7 pages long, and we haven't even finished the first. And you're free. One of these days I'm going to do a compilation of me telling you you're free.